You're coming up.
And the party is started. It's on the Stick After Dark. My name is Joe Drilling. That was Kurt Angle
Yeah, Joe.
telling Mr. MC
Yeah.
Banjo Mike Ailes that he's coming up.
That was Kurt Angle?
Yes.
Yep.
Kurt Adam. Our Kurt Angle. He put Eric in an ankle lock the last time we were all together. I don't know if you remember that. And that's Eric singing Kurt Angle's theme. And
not Kurt Angle. Come on, that's the Patriots.
That's the Patriots theme music, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. So we decided we were going to kind of take it easy this week, and so I just got access to the Electronic Gaming Monthly Archive because I backed the EGM Compendium hardcover book on Kickstarter, and so I got first access to this thing, and I just wanted to flip through some of these old magazines and talk about them and look at old game stuff, and I'm streaming it straight to Discord so that my cohorts here can respond in proper time rather than being like, no, 30 seconds ago, go back to that page you were looking at. But yeah, I don't know. The compendium has contributions from people who used to write at EGM. There's a bunch of like sample articles and stuff like that are going to be in it that from the magazine's history. But I think a big part of it for me was just that like this archive, which like I know that a lot of these, almost all of them, if not all of them, were already like scanned on Retro Mags and on the Internet Archive. But this being like the official,
torrent with all of them as well.
I think there is now. This right now, this if you go to the homepage, it's just the EGM original EGM. It's it is not EGM 2 or the supplements yet.
Scared.
Yeah, which eventually became Expert Gamer, I think, right? If I remember the lineage
It sure did.
correctly. And yeah, they have the tips and tricks and the video game buyers guides and all that stuff are in the supplements. I should actually, for once, turn my cursor on, maybe, or maybe not. What do you guys think? Should I turn my cursor on the stream? That seems like it might be
I think you might want it for this.
helpful. Yeah.
We can see what you're pointing at.
Yeah. Settings. That's a setting, right?
So what? Who had EGM subscriptions?
Not I, sir. I was a Nintendo fanboy through and through.
I had Nintendo Power, and then I got a PlayStation because Final Fantasy moved to PlayStation, and then I switched my one video game magazine subscription from Nintendo Power to EGM. And that would have been in like 1998 or 1999. But yeah, before that, I didn't really pay too much attention to what was going on and outside of the Nintendo ecosystem. But I think we just got rid of. I had a huge plastic tote with about 5 years worth of EGMs in it that I just got rid of. Out of my parents' garage.
Yeah, I gave a bunch of stuff to the Video Game History Foundation. I mailed them. It costs like $400 or $300 or something to ship from Wisconsin to California. But I basically sent them.
Anything if I'd had anything that was like, this is literally just EGM.
Well, they do that. One of the ways that one of the ways that the Video Game History Foundation raises money is they send out like old magazines to people as like a monthly blind box thing, and so they use them. If you send them magazines, they use them for that. So that was part of why I was like, well, should do that. I am having a hell of a time finding where in OBS to capture my
like the video. I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought it would be there, but it's not. I think it might be in general, but there's so much shit in general, and I'm talking while I'm trying to read, so That might be why. Hide cursor over projectors.
It should be if it's in the game there's like a little properties thing in the bottom of the window, and then it should be right in there. It's like pretty easy to find usually.
Oh, could be that.
Like there's like the window that has your browser feed in it, and then there should be like a thing below there that says like properties, filters, interact, refresh. In the properties tab, I think is where the
Yeah, there we go. Capture cursor. There it is. Yep. Okay, now the fine people can see my cursor. So yeah, EGM 2 not here yet. The supplements and specials not here yet, but the original EGM is here. So right now you have to have an account to access this site. The people who paid like the big bucks for the big super fancy collector's edition of the EGM Compendium got super first access. I paid for just like the normal version. I might have got the one that came with like bookmarks and posters, but like I didn't pay for the extremely fancy pants like $150 edition. So I got my access I think last week, but I didn't know if I was going to be here last week, and Eric was playing Atom Fall. And now I want to take a look at it. So this is what we're doing. So I think it's only fitting to start with the very first issue, right? Like we should leaf through the very first issue, dated May 1989.
I'm just here for the late 90s ads.
Okay, well we'll move to those for sure in short order. So this is May 1989. This is the very first issue of the U.S. National Video Game Team's Electronic Gaming Monthly, with Mega Man 2 on the cover, which feels fitting because that feels like that was one of the hottest games of 1989, right? So,
absolutely.
Speaking of ads, this is.
You can play some Tengen games.
Play some Tengen. Hey, one of these is the
Tengen Tetris is fucking great.
Tengen Tetris is fucking great. The other three are exactly identical to the licensed versions, but Tetris is totally different. John, the two great tastes that taste great together. John Elway's Quarterback and Double Dragon. My favorite thing about John Elway's Quarterback is that it has a bug where if you pick it's fucking dog shit. But if you pick reverse play, your quarterback just runs like 4 times faster than anybody, or whoever has possession of the ball just runs like 4 times faster than anybody else on the field. And it's just
that sounds well balanced and fun to play.
Yep. Even more unbalanced than Tecmo Bowl and Bo Jackson.
Yeah. I mean, Tecmo Super Bowls, that's the one you got. That's the good one.
Acclaim, the recently returned Acclaim, masters of the game, with all of these classic, beloved Acclaim games from 1989.
When you're looking at 8 NES games, and the best one is like Wizards and Warriors or Tiger Heli. Like,
was that Rambo game any good?
It's like a bad Zelda 2. And I don't like Zelda 2 to begin with, so take that into account when I say that.
It's like a bad Castlevania 2.
It's like a bad Castlevania 2. 3D World Runner is
Castlevania 2 that's like less fun to play.
Yeah. 3D World Runner is fine. I would say Tiger Heli is the best of all of these games, and it's just an okay port.
Warriors is kind of interesting.
The only thing that's cool about Airwolf is that it does have like a very excellent chiptune version of the theme song from Airwolf, so
that's a song.
So again, I don't want to go through every page of everything that we look at, but I do want to, since this is the very first issue of EGM, this was, oh my God, 37 years ago. 36 years ago, 37 years ago. I want to read the Steve Harris's like editor's column just to see where we were. What was the shape of things to come in 1989? So 1988 was a pivotal year for video and computer gaming. The Nintendo Entertainment System cemented its presence in the hearts and minds of the game-playing public. Entertainment software for the IBM and compatible computers exploded at a ferocious rate. For any young,
I was playing on.
I was gonna say, for any youngins who might be watching this, that basically is what like Windows used to be. Is like IBM compatible. Windows grows out of that lineage. DOS was pre-installed on IBM.
Sure, it does grow out of that lineage. You're right.
Yeah. Arcades became even more exciting. That's true. Late 80s arcade games are just like the technology is so there in a way that home consoles weren't yet. Late 80s arcade games are just so fucking sick.
Tight.
Yeah. With simulators that could reproduce all the excitement of real life situations. Okay, Steve, let's kick back just a fucking little bit. All right. While simulating all the senses with machines that would roll and spin at the command of a joystick. Even though the year proved to be positive in most respects, nothing could have prepared us for the unrealistic delays in game products, the short supply of hit games like Double Dragon, or the sheer number of game companies that seemingly sprouted overnight. Steve, let me tell you about game companies sprouting overnight in the future, because what you are seeing in 1989... compared to now is just not even.
There was 20,000 games released on Steam last year, which is like 10 times the number of NES games. Like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. With all the growth and excitement being generated, you might be thinking that electronic gaming has reached the upper limits in terms of both technology and imagination. I would just like to point out at this point that this issue is dated May 1989. The Sega Genesis has not been released in America yet. So I don't really think anybody was thinking that, Steve, but maybe they were. I don't know. In terms of both technology and imagination, while many are looking down at roads they've charted in the past few years, others have been fortunately looking ahead to the future beyond the IBM compatibles and the Nintendo Entertainment System.
What could possibly be beyond an IBM? It's compatible with IBM.
I know. They're the biggest. They make international business machines. What could be better than being compatible with that? If all indications are correct, 1989 will be the year that the dream of these visionaries comes true. 3 new game systems have been announced, with industry leader Nintendo pushing back a planned March unveiling of their new Super Famicom game system in Japan. All eyes turn towards Sega's 16-bit Mega Drive that debuted last November, and the recently announced European Slipstream 16-bit machine from Konix. I like to fancy myself as a bit of a game historian. I have no fucking clue what that is or what they're talking about. Can someone Google the European Slipstream from Konix? Okay, great.
The Konix Multi-System was a canceled video game system under development by Konix, a British manufacturer of computer peripherals.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Just one more question.
Uh-huh.
Who the hell are Konix?
Valid question, IMO.
Konix does not appear to have its own Wikipedia. So it became, I don't know. Let me read more of this and then I'll fill you in.
Okay. A high level of interest remains in the PC Engine as well. That's the TurboGrafx 16 for you plebeian Americans. The advanced game system that is currently taking Japan by storm has unfortunately failed to court any strong interest from American game makers. But the worst games that were on, the worst games that came out on the TurboGrafx were the ones made by American developers, so that's probably for the best. 1989 will also see a new emphasis on handheld games. Rumors indicate that Nintendo may be leading the way with a mid-range cartridge system that will play a variety of games on a specially developed 2-inch LCD screen. That sounds like a load of bullshit to me. Who would buy that, right? Am I right? Other high-profile names like Konami are also promising to enter this equally lucrative area of electronic gaming. It also merits mentioning that the fact that at this time, saying like the first big, huge publisher that comes to mind is Konami for the editors of this magazine, which is quite a bit different than the way things are today, right? So, but they're still around at least, I guess. So, through it all, you can count on Electronic Gaming Monthly to bring you the hottest new developments, reviews of all the latest game titles, both good and bad, and a keen insight on what will be happening in the months to come, because no matter what the future holds for video and computer gaming, as long as there are people reaching out for that ultimate play experience, there will be pages between these covers and grins on the faces of this editor and you. Have fun with your games, this mag, and remember, don't take life too seriously. Would that it were so simple. But thanks, Steve. So that was the temperature. Yeah, that was the temperature in 80, 89. Let's just leaf through a little bit, see if we get any... Whoa, the top 10 games. How was this top 10 determined? I have no idea. Are these the 10 best sellers?
By the U.S. national video game team.
I was going to say, is this the yeah, this I'll take it as that. This is the picks of the U.S. national video game team. Number 1
was Steve Harris and Walter Day sat in a room and figured it out.
And those nerds who made those VHS tapes I used to rent when I was a kid. That Sean Baby made like way more famous in the early 2000s. Blaster Master, Phantasy Star, 1943, Super Mario Brothers 2, Double Dragon, the NES port of Double Dragon, which sure. Adventure Island, which they correctly cite as Wonder Boy for Nintendo, which is actually
Double Dragon NES, huh?
Yep. Shanghai on the Master System.
Was it like a mahjong game? What is that?
Yes, it's a mahjong. It's a puzzle game that uses mahjong tiles.
Yeah.
Golgo 13, NES Classic, Golgo 13.
This is a bad
I
list.
get a lot of press back in the day. I guess because it had 2 different kind of game modes. But that gave them a lot of time.
3. It had 3.
Okay. Were any of them good?
No. Golgo 13 was pretty roundly garbage, in my opinion. Maddie Cafe said an emoji.
Top 10 of 1987. Is that what this supposed to be, or what?
Molly Patterson, who is one of the people who put this whole thing together, thanks for coming to the stream, Molly, says those hacks. Smoke Monster says, yo, Molly says Golgo 13 was awesome, and that she will stand by that. I respect it. I mean, it is a game that ends where you snipe Hitler's brain, and I mean that in the truest sense of the word. Hitler's brain is in a vat, and you snipe Hitler's brain at the end of Golgo 13. Sure. So that does rule, but I feel like it all went wrong for me when B jumped and A shot. That was just where it drove off a cliff right away. The maze segments are also like basically impossible unless you have a map, I think is, but if you're Racket Attack.
It's just 1987's version of the blueprints. You just have to.
That's right. That's right. Number 9, Racket Attack for the NES, which is like a middling Jalico tennis game, if I remember correctly, but I couldn't swear to that. And Dr. Chaos, an adventure game that is even better than Goonies 2. Now, let me say...
I can't imagine an adventure game better than Goonies 2. What?
Goonies 2 has some frustrating moments, which are similar to Golgo 13's, in that there's like these first-person segments that are very difficult to navigate unless you know...
I mean, that's a pretty okay game.
But Dr. Chaos is not nearly as good of a game as Goonies 2. Like, come on.
I know, I'm trying to...
Strider coming in April from Capcom. Hydlide. The world. This was an era before the world knew Hydlide, and what a better world that was, probably.
I still don't really feel like I know Hydlide.
Yeah, well,
Hydlide suffers from being like a game that was pretty old on that came out several years earlier on like Japanese PCs and was like
and even
the first of its kind back then. But then, when it gets ported to the Nintendo, it's like it feels outdated because things move so much faster that a game that was from 1985 felt old.
I was gonna say because I think the Famicom port, the original Japanese Famicom version, came out like years earlier, and it was just like now it's NES Mania, so we're gonna publish anything that we can throw out there, even if it's 5 years old and next to Dragon Warrior and Zelda has aged like fish, but
right.
I like that they spelled WrestleMania as 2 words here. Wrestle Space Mania.
That's a bad game.
Challenge the best names in wrestling with the claims Wrestle Space Mania. You can punch, kick, and body slam the biggest and baddest wrestlers around like Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, and the Honky Tonk Man.
Unfortunately, those are the only 4 things that you can do.
Those are literally the only things you can do. And I think you can only body slam as Hulk. So... make your move and put your man down for the count of 3 with the only cart endorsed by the World Wrestling Federation. That was true at the time, but eventually there is a total of 5 WrestleMania Challenge, Steel Cage Challenge, and King 4. There's 4 in King of the Ring. So there's 4. There would be 4 carts endorsed by the World Wrestling Federation, and only one of them is really like significantly better than this one. All the rest are kind of in the same strata. So there you have it. Let's see here. Zooming ahead with Bishu joysticks. Bob James says Blaster Master is good, but number 1 in 1988.
Okay.
Mega Man 2 is better.
So if that was supposed to be a list of the best games of 1987, I just want to throw out there some games such as Castlevania and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Maniac Mansion came out. The first Ys game.
I think.
No, I'm sorry, Eric. It's Shanghai.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Nintendo and the CinemaWare connection with this really bad off-screen shot of Three Stooges for the NES. That's not a good game.
I mean, we should potentially. There's a timing issue there. If it's whatever.
Opinions vary.
Yeah.
No. I just mean if that magazine came out in March of '87 or whatever. I don't remember what the date was.
89. 89.
All right.
This is
Never mind.
March of 89.
Ignore everything I was saying.
Could have been 88 games then, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
That is a weird list of games.
That's a weird list of games. That was all wrong.
I have seen pictures of this like NES arcade cabinet contraption before, and I don't know if this is ever actually manufactured. I think basically just a piece of IKEA furniture with joysticks on it, but I wish
Right, well there's like those NES 10 ones came
Well, right, but those were demo units, right? Play Choice 10 was an actual arcade unit. This is like a home. Right. This is like IKEA furniture you buy for your house and put your TV and your NES in there. I don't think that ever actually came up. Maybe it did. I've never seen one at a con or at a friend's house or anything. Robo Warrior. Do we want to read any letters to the editor? I don't want to spend hard driving in the arcade. The first polygonal.
So apparently the Konix multi-system was announced, and then it started as like a company that was going to make peripherals, and one of the things that they were like touting was that they were going to have input devices with force feedback on them, and so one of the things they showed when they first showed it was a
trance vibrator.
Well, no, a zapper gun with force feedback, and also like a gamer chair like this thing with it's like vibration things put in.
Oh, I remember that thing. I remember that.
But it never really. It sounds like eventually it got sold and then was maybe released in China, like a similar thing. But it never came to fruition.
Preview 89. Get your joysticks ready. Quarterman from the very beginning. I love that. When EGM was like shutting down, I remember listening to the Retronauts podcast where they talked to a bunch of people who had written for EGM and were currently as it was being mothballed the first time, wrote for it and stuff. And when it came to the topic of Quarterman, obviously there was no actual person. It was just one of the features editors or whatever.
Whoever they could grab that day.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that in order to keep people guessing and throw them off the scent, they admitted that sometimes they just literally made shit up. No even whisper of rumor, just whole cloth fabrications that went into this column, which I think is kind of hilarious. Hasbro's
rumors, they're not factors.
Right. Mattel has officially stated they will not be bringing the Japanese PC Engine system stateside. Well, shit. Hasbro's Nemo game system has officially been canceled, but those games will all live to see another day 2 years from now on the Sega CD, so it'll be fine. Do you guys remember, have you heard the story of the Nemo? It was a VHS-based system. It was what Night Trap and all that was originally built for. If anyone has, it's on YouTube. I have a Blu-ray copy of it because Corey gave me one. But there's a really good Night Trap documentary series that My Life in Gaming did, where they talk to a bunch of people who are actually involved in the production, and it has a good chunk about the Hasbro Nemo, and it's really interesting. And those guys do great work, and they're cool dudes. So if anybody hasn't seen that and has interest in such a thing, you should definitely look that up on YouTube and watch it.
Right. Now, if they had used Philips's like crazy vinyl video format,
No, that was RCA.
Was it RCA?
It was RCA. The Disco Vision. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see what's coming in this year of our Lord 1989. Data East.
So fragile that they had to put it in special cartridges because otherwise you would destroy the
Otherwise you would accidentally kill it. Yeah. So the slip cover had like a locking mechanism on it. We fed the whole thing into the Good Lord. Data East is putting out Bad Dudes, and I love, one of my favorite things about these old magazines is that sometimes, and I'm never sure, you see it in catalogs too, it's hard to say if it was the like, if I would be curious to know if they get these probably from whoever runs publicity for these, but like this Bad Dude screenshot is very clearly a hand-drawn representation, and you can tell super easily because it's 2-player, and while the arcade version of Bad Dudes is 2-player, the NES version is definitely not. But the last time I played Bad Dudes,
it's in the title.
I know. I played it with you, Eric. We beat it in Nashville, right? At
I think so. Yeah.
one of the places, one of the arcades in Nashville. Eric and I beat Bad Dudes, and it's really bad. Except for the part where it says, "Are you a bad enough dude to rescue President Ronnie?" And also when they say I'm bad.
Version of fucking Bad Dudes, and was very disappointed when it wasn't co-op.
Mm-hmm. And also Double Dragon, like we were just talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. How could you put the? I'm mad at a top 10 list from 40 years ago.
Gamers getting mad at what other gamers think for 37 years. Heavy Barrel is decent, but the problem is, I like they abbreviate IBM Compats. Heavy Barrel will be hitting for Commodore 64, 128, and IBM Compats.
And we have a character limit.
Written by Brits.
Yeah. Heavy Barrel, the arcade version, used the loop lever, the rotating joystick, to aim, and the NES version that did come out, similar. It's like, yes. It's more like Ikari Warriors than Forgotten Worlds. Yes. Rampage. Everybody loves Rampage. The NES version cuts out George. Ralph the Wolf. That's some bullshit. NES RoboCop is pretty good. I don't hate it. Super Hang On. It sure is a motorcycle racing video game. Acclaim. Wait, so Airwolf and WrestleMania, and of course WrestleMania is one word on this page for some reason.
Listen,
Iron Sword Wizards and Warriors 2 is in all caps for some reason.
It's just how it is.
Yeah.
We're excited about it, Joe.
Fair enough.
That's a sad thing to have been. Let me tell you, that game that's not so great.
Not so great, but it had Fabio on the cover, so. Taito is releasing Kicks, the game that launched 1,000 porn games. If you've played a porno puzzle game,
I was about to say, "What do you mean?" And then I realized I know what you mean.
You know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yep.
You can play Kicks to me.
I just played too much Kicks by itself because I like the game.
Did you get to
So that I
see a boob?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
At the time, no.
Okay.
Which is why I didn't realize what you were saying.
Which is why now Kurt only plays Gal's Panic so that he can see a boob.
Right.
By playing a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Operation Wolf, the NES port of Operation Wolf is not good. Sky Shark, the NES port of Sky Shark is not very good. Jalico with Hoops and Goal and Robo Warrior. Wow, this is Konami / I love that they just acknowledge that Konami and Ultra are the same company here, even though no one was supposed to know that.
They did not do that in the old
Nintendo Power, yeah. Defender of the Crown. That was the Guess the Game. Was that yesterday, Kurt, that you were like, I have no idea what the hell that is? And the only reason I remembered it was because I'd played the NES port. But that was the Guess the Game yesterday or the day before.
Yep.
Right. Metal Gear, bad port.
Metal Gear.
Skate or Die, bad port.
Metal Gear, it'll never catch on.
Yeah, no one's ever going to play that shit. Also, I like that this screenshot is Oh, that is the now I can't tell, but I actually think that might be the MSX port, not the NES version, or the MSX original, not the NES port.
I don't. It's so small. I can't
Yeah,
tell.
it's hard to tell. Ninja Turtles. That is, I mean, obviously a thing that sold like gangbusters. Not a great game.
It's a better game than people give it credit for.
It's
No, it's not. That was my one game I got for Christmas one year, and that game fucking sucks. It's terrible.
oh no.
Yeah, okay, I retract my statement.
Especially because there are two like Ninja Turtles arcade game style games that came out later that were so much better.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Capcom is working on some stuff, including California Raisins, which didn't come out, but now has been leaked as a thing you can play if you want to. Yeah, right. More Disney games.
Except no imitators.
That's right.
More Disney games.
DuckTales. Duck Space Tales.
Action-oriented Mickey Mouse capade.
Yes, which, yeah. Adventures in Disneyland. Obviously, that became Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. Other possibilities of the Japanese import, Donald Duck, which I believe the Japanese import Donald Duck did come out here, but if memory serves, and I think it does, it was Snoopy's Silly Sports Spectacular was the U.S. localization of Donald Duck, because Kemco made the game and didn't just want to license it to Capcom. They wanted to put something out and make the money themselves, so they changed everything to Peanuts characters and then released their Donald Duck game, which
That's weird.
happened more than you might think. All the Crazy Castle games, like the Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle, those, like in every different territory where they were something else. So like the original Famicom version of Crazy Castle was Roger Rabbit. Then it got localized in the US as Bugs Bunny. Then there's a Game Boy version that is the real Ghostbusters cartoon. And then there's one that's Garfield, I think. They're Mickey Mouse games. The Game Boy ones are Mickey Mouse games in Japan. It's very weird. And then now I can't remember what game it is, but there's a game that in some parts of the world is a McDonald's game and in some parts of the world is a 7-Up game, but it's just a sprite swap. It's the same.
Not Cool Spot.
It's not Cool Spot. It's not Cool Spot.
Okay.
It's one of the other ones.
Swap your
I
Sprite.
was gonna say I would love to play. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to make it. I'm trying to find some joke about Sprite
Ah, yes.
beverages.
Yes. I we'll work on it. We'll come up with something. I see where you're going though. I'm smelling what you're cooking. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I
Didn't
love
quite get there.
I love that they refer to Mega Man 2 as a follow-up to the sleeper hit of 88, which like the first Mega Man game I played was Mega Man 2 for sure, because I really do feel like Mega Man 1 did not make much of an impact at the time. You know?
That's because you were sleeping.
I guess so. Bob James says, Silent Service was always hanging around when I was a kid. I loved that was a Sid Meier game ported from the PC. Nothing like trying to play a PC game on the NES. Yeah, the NES port of Silent Service is not good. But the PC version is pretty competent. Yeah, NES Strider, not great. Planned releases for 89. So yeah, this is just like SNK is still doing NES games, which obviously they eventually stopped doing because they didn't want to cut into their own Neo Geo profits. But Taboo isn't even a video game. Like, and I don't mean that pejoratively. I literally mean like there is no game part of Taboo. It's just it's like putting a quarter in a fortune telling
My two
machine.
favorite video games: Taboo and Venetian Blinds.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, we got a little original art of this football guy here. We got Tecmo Bowl A, John Elway's quarterback, C. Yes, these are the rankings. Tecmo Bowl A-, John Elway's quarterback, C- for bells and
Tecmo
ribbons.
Bowl B, quarterback C. I'm not.
It's almost like real football, Eric. It's just a little bit shy. That's why it gets a B, you know.
I mean, I would say that those final grades, I agree, in the context of the time. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Double Trouble. Man, I know we talk about how Sunsoft is one of the classic game publishers, but like Xenophobe is garbage on NES. Platoon is garbage. The Spy Hunter port is like okay.
I'm a big Charlie Sheen fan.
Well, I love Willem Dafoe, but I just, it's just, the video game's not that good. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's just Taxon Video Diction.
Happy Land.
Sorry,
Premiere issue. This is it appears to be a sponsored section
It has to be like an ad.
from Premiere issue, the complete guide to Taxon games, free to EGM readers.
Wow, free advertising.
Yeah, introduction to Taxon by Ken Lobb. He of the Clob. Yeah. Video high scoreboard. Can you beat 2,643,300 points in Star Soldier?
I don't know.
That was Ken Lobb's high score. Can you beat it?
Want
You know what's funny? Taxon is actually like kind of low key. They did some actually really good. None of these games that are on the screen right now. Star Soldier is fine. Fist of the North Star is a disaster. I don't hate Mappy Land, but it very much feels like a kid's game, right? Like it's very simple.
Like a game that it feels like a game that was released 5 years before it actually came out on the NES.
Yeah, but they also, they publish G.I. Joe and Low Gravity Man, and like the Taxon put out some stuff that was pretty decent. That's all I'm saying. 1943, which is both a better game and a better port on the NES than 1942. Ultima, Bubble Bobble, East. Wait, is that? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's East for Master System. I was like, was there a planned NES port of East at some point that I just like don't remember? All right, so Eric talked about Sega's Phantasy Star is the next wave in video gaming, though. This is you can tell this is really early Sega because it's Sega from Tonka when Tonka was doing the US distro for Sega. Because Atari passed on it. All right, well, Eric said he's here for like terrible late 90s ads, which means I think we need to jump back and maybe move to time travel a little bit. So that was the state of things in 89, give or take. Where do we want to go? How far into the 90s do you want to go?
The issue I remember the most is the 99 Dreamcast one. Right there.
The biggest 24 hours in entertainment history.
It had like like the one with all the headlines on it was underneath like a different cover that was just the spiral.
Yeah. I wonder if they're, well, we'll see. But I like that they have put like, if I click this and it just, which is like so convenient. Also, that last one was what? It was like 60 pages. This one is 244. Dude, the kids today will never understand. Yes, it was like a fucking phone book.
Part of the reasons I got rid of mine was that they also spent a lot of time in the bathroom.
Yeah. Yep. But they like these things were like fucking phone books, and we ate, and half of it was ads, and we still ate up every.
Well, I mean, the ads are good though, because like anybody in magazines will tell you that more ads means more
money.
Articles.
Yeah.
Right. So if there's no ads, then that means the magazine is in a lot of trouble.
Right. Ape Escape. Mm-hmm. Why?
You can tell just by looking at that ad that's a video game.
Right. Look, there's 4 tiny screenshots down here.
Yeah.
Plus, it's the first and only 3D game that fully utilizes the DualShock analog controller.
True.
Prepare yourself. Things are about to get hairy.
That's a video game right there.
Cyberberry. Oh, Cyberberry.
Oh, man.
Sick moves. Besides Cyberberry, your arsenal includes hot routes, one-handed grabs, and breakable rap tackles.
Rap tackles?
Yeah, where you wrap a guy up and take him down.
Oh, I thought it had something to do with rapping.
What was 98 the first polygonal Madden? Right?
I believe it was because the 97 got
Super
canceled,
Nintendo
I
one.
think. I think 97 got canceled, so 98 was the first, yeah. Molly Patterson says, my opinion on ads really changed when I went from reading magazines to helping make them. That makes sense, I guess, yeah. And Bob James says Ape Escape is a fun one. Ape Escape rules.
That listening to Jeff Green talk about it on the old GFW radio podcast was that was what changed my perspective and all that stuff works.
John Davison is the editor at this time, and would be for quite a while. And then he moved up to like a pretty prominent position in whatever the Ziff Davis or whatever. I don't know what happened to. So James Milkey is now at Square. Is that right? He works for Square US, I think.
He's in game development someplace.
Yeah, I don't know who Gary Molahan is, and Andrew Pfister is also in the industry now, right? He was at.
He works at some game company.
Yeah, he's a Milwaukee boy too, if I remember correctly. Andrew Pfister is. He used to talk about the Brewers on One Up podcasts and stuff.
He was on the sports podcast for quite a while.
Yeah. So I like that we still have Sushi X. You can reach at sushi_x at zd.com. So yeah, America is ready for the Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast is ready for America. I know that spell check was by 99. I feel like it was, but like this feels like a typo and a big pull quote like this that's a pretty significant oversight.
Accidents happen.
I know. South Park now on PlayStation Game Console. Sweet. So this was the first-person shooter that was based on the Turok engine, right? Yes.
Yep.
I think so. No.
I think that the two South Park RPGs from the last 10 or so years are definitely much better video games than this.
I think that first one is more than 10 years old at this point.
No, don't tell me that. Okay.
I think the second one might be 10 years old.
Jesus. Well, anyway, Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole are way better games than N64 PS1 South Park.
That N64 one was real bad.
Yeah. 16 totally whacked fighters ready to get down and get it on. In-game announcement by Michael Buffer, the voice of champions.
Okay.
This is, at the time, I like...
Is 11 years old, and Fractured Butthole came out in 17.
Like 5.
Yeah, I was going to say Fractured Butthole is not 10 years old. I really don't think.
It's only 8 years old.
Okay.
Practically brand new.
Way different.
Yeah, I feel like at the time I liked Ready to Rumble, and I feel like it is.
I really liked the demo of Ready to Rumble, and then when I rented it, I played the demo that came with the Dreamcast a lot, but then actually playing the game, I didn't enjoy it that much.
Right, because it didn't feel like that. Like, I remember part of the demo was like, "Oh, this seems cool," and then when I played the full game, it was like they all play the same. It feels like there's not really a big difference between characters. Maybe there is. Maybe there are high level Ready to Rumble players out there who are really mad at me right now. I don't know. Oh wow, Timbaland in a Mark Echo ad.
Way different.
Thanks, Alex.
Nothing. It doesn't matter.
Okay, good.
This is the most 1999 image I think possible. Is Timbaland in some big ass Mark Echo sweatpants. Why are these big-headed Hollywood freaks dressed up like Final Fantasy characters? I don't know, but we're gonna find out, I guess. Fighting Force 2.
Fighting Force 2. Yep.
Fighting Force 1 is an ambitious, if not enjoyable, 3D brawler. Fighting Force 2 is just bad. Speaking of just bad,
Alex is here.
Blue Stinger is.
How dare you?
I enjoy Blue Stinger in the same way that I enjoy like Roger Corman horror movies, like almost entirely in the same way, in fact, but it's not like I cannot give it an unqualified recommendation. You have to be a certain kind of fucking sicko to enjoy Blue Stinger. Motocross Championship featuring Ricky Carmichael.
Racing games back then. Yeah.
Croc's back with a bunch of zany new characters, and actually the dead
Croc
eye,
back.
like the glassy dead
Croc is
eyes.
back right now.
I was gonna say this just came.
Right?
Both the first two, right, or the only two? I don't know. Yeah, just came out. Yeah, I always forget this was Argonaut. I don't think I ever even played these because I think I sort of dismissed them out of hand, and people have said like, "Oh no, it's Argonaut software. It's Star Fox people. They're actually like pretty good." I've never played them. I wonder if the Gummy Savers branding is still in the re-release, or if they're just replaced with generic candies of some sort.
Does Gummy Savers still exist?
They're Gummy Life. I think they're just called Gummy Lifesavers now, but they definitely make whatever they're called now. Yes, they still make them. I love the idea that someone writing in the letter of the month gets like a third-party controller for free, like that's some kind of reward. Like the only thing that was good for was giving to your friend, and like usually like the third player or fourth player.
Video at the fighting game.
Well, that way you just didn't have to hold this monstrosity. Like, look at this fucking thing.
No, that doesn't. I mean, if that's a Dreamcast controller, that might be more comfortable than a normal Dreamcast controller.
But it probably has a really crappy analog stick.
Well, this says you will be receiving a Barracuda PS, an Eclipse Stick Saturn. Well, that's not a stick, so it's not the Saturn Eclipse Stick. Yeah. Or a SharkPad Pro for N64. I think that's the Barracuda. I think
Barracuda. Yeah.
I think that's the Barracuda. But I can't resolve like the symbols on the buttons with my feeble human eyeballs. So, but it's I think that was the SharkPad Pro the one that actually managed to put the analog stick and the D-pad like under the same thumb, but it was like really weirdly shaped, so like it still wasn't pleasant to use compared to like a Hori Mini pad or whatever.
Did you see that? There was an email from a woman down in the corner there where she called out her boyfriend because she beats him at games all the time, and they printed his fucking email address.
Got him.
Well, they printed hers too. Yeah, everybody's.
Yeah, all these people's email addresses are in there. Wow.
Oh, and he's actually the one who wrote. They both wrote an email. He wrote the email above. Yeah, I don't know. My wife just kicked my ass in Dr. Mario earlier tonight, so this is weird shit that's going on right here.
Was that you?
Yeah, it was me.
Write that email?
Yeah, I did. I hadn't met my wife yet in 1999, but I did have a different girlfriend who used to beat me in puzzle games once in a while.
So she was whipping your. So it was a rando, as far as you knew. That
yeah, right, exactly.
And then eventually.
Exactly.
Tunes.com, eh?
Tunes.com with.
Different than Toonses.com.
Definitely different. And different than iTunes.com, to be sure.
Tunes.com still goes anywhere?
I bet it goes somewhere, yeah. I don't know where.
Nope. Domain for sale.
Wow. That's kind of crazy.
Too bad.
So it doesn't have this like 90s picture of Kid Rock on it.
26-year-old website doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't have 26-year-old Kid Rock.
There's over 1 million song clips.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Song clips.
15-second.
That's right.
Real audio.
That's right.
Smoke
Smoke Monster says the Super Pad was the one that I was thinking of. The weirdly shaped N64 monstrosity was the Super Pad 64. Smoke Monster says my old GoldenEye controller. Until that third-party analog stick gave up the ghost, I'm sure quite quickly. I think envelope art was dope as fuck, and I think we need to bring back envelope art somehow.
Then you have to bring back envelopes first.
That's right.
This guy in the pocket of big envelope.
Right.
Fucking guy.
Can we put tariffs on envelopes to bring back the U.S. envelope industry?
Sherry Birkin, you guys really goofed this time in the Resident Evil feature. In last month's issue, you erroneously printed Sherry Wong. She was actually the daughter of the scientist who developed the G-Virus. Her last name was Birkin. Thomas Stefanski. T. Stefanski at earthlink.net. The editor responds, Crispin has been severely punished for his factual slip-up. He has been forced to play Superman for extended periods of time without breaks. All 176 of you who emailed us, thank you. You may stop now. How quaint it is that only 176 people let them know that they made a typo.
I mean, not as many people would put in the effort because they got to decorate their envelope, as we were
And
talking
also
about.
you had to draw weird looking boobs in order to get it red on the envelope.
Yeah, this is, I don't know what is happening. I mean, I do know what's happening here. Like 90s and comic inspired envelope art is what's happening here, but
Rob Liefeld. Misshapen anatomy.
this is the sole hot take. This game still kicks fucking ass, and the Dreamcast port specifically still looks really good if you scale it up. It's kind of insane how good this game still manages to look on.
The best reason I want to
flabbergasting when it came out.
Yes, it was absolutely flooring when it came out. Oh, fuck this guy and the horse he rode in on. It was Soul Calibur.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, fuck this guy and the horse he rode in on.
This one not so much.
Yeah. No, this one hasn't aged. Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, this is some edgy 90s art shit. The Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz being lit on fire by battle tanks.
I don't understand, but
What?
okay.
Alex, I'm streaming it to the Discord, man. You can just
I know, I'm fighting bugs.
You have 2 monitors, don't you?
Nope.
What the
don't believe in it.
Wow. Okay.
We've talked about this many times.
Yeah, I always forget that you're like a heathen though, so
Every time I go hiking, somebody's doing a fucking sick flip on their sled over my head saying, heads up, nature boy. And it gets old after a while. The sled neck.
do you think I was just thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
I muted my mic to blow my nose right as Eric said, heads up nature boy, and I was like, damn it.
Nail over 50 insane tricks. Slammed a Rob Zombie, Econoline Crush. Dom and Roland?
Try and stop me.
Uber Zone and the Easy.
Econoline Crush is the best late 90s industrial rock band from Canada.
I wonder if I ever knew who they were.
I saw them at Summerfest the year this magazine came out.
I think they had like one song that was like a big hit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't remember what it is, but anyway. That list definitely drifts away from they start out with like, oh yeah, Rob Zombie, and then like Econoline Crush, and then the rest of it, like, I don't know.
Then after that, it's just like, who? And I was a person who liked alternative music in the late 90s. I don't know who Dom and Roland are, or Uberzone or Easy Rollers.
Go to tunes.com and you can listen to it. They have millions
millions of clips. Yeah. Okay, so we have Alec Baldwin and Taye Diggs. Oh, Ving Rhames. That's supposed to be Ving Rhames. Why does Ving Rhames look like? No, never mind.
Final Fantasy movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So this is people not quite realizing that the Final Fantasy movie is gonna be fucking garbage. I saw that movie in the theater on opening night.
I believe I did too.
Same.
Yeah, we all did.
And the best part was the Spider-Man trailer where he webs a bunch of bank robbers in between the World Trade Center towers. That was the best part of that night.
I mean, listen, it's not fair to any movie to have a trailer for a Sam Raimi movie before it.
That's
it just makes them
fair.
all look bad.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
It's not. There's really nothing wrong with a Final Fantasy movie after all.
Yeah. I don't know
Damned by
about that part.
comparison.
Before Crash Bandicoot landed on the scene, this blocky-looking guy called Polygon Man was the first mascot for the PlayStation. He was abandoned as the spokesperson shortly thereafter because of his gibberish-talking ways.
What?
His gibberish-talking ways.
It made me super racist.
Do you think the Dolphin should sport a more high-tech look than the Nintendo 64? What looks more high-tech than the Nintendo 64?
The graphics will never be better. 15% of people didn't understand how video games worked, apparently. Also,
I think they mean the form of the console itself, which we all agree that the GameCube looks more high-tech than a...
I mean, yeah.
Before.
Also, yeah, the Dolphin...
Also, it's much easier to kill a man with a GameCube than it is...
That's right. Well, it has a handle.
Yeah.
No, wait a second. But is it easier to kill a man with a GameCube than it is with a Pikachu N64? Because those are pretty hefty. I think it might be easier to brain someone with the Pikachu
Yeah, but
N64.
you still have to hold it in two hands.
That's true,
whereas the
you do.
GameCube is
That's
one
true.
Are
hand.
there
That's
Pikachu
true.
ears sticking off that you can use as a handle?
We'll have to take this to the gladiator pit.
That's right. Do people now, like, do the kids now, this is me like my most old man stream I think ever, do the kids now know that the reason the Dolphin emulator is so named is because the code name for the GameCube was Dolphin?
I think so.
I didn't know that, so no, they don't.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, but you're
dude, where were you when like the GameCube was like a prototype, dude?
yeah. Weren't you reading EGM like the rest of
Why
us
did you
nerds?
turn into Hulk Hogan?
Brother.
Alex is Hulk Hogan. Spoilers.
Oh no, I don't like that. I don't like this turn of events.
Let's
He's out of here. We're banning him.
Mario at the movies, Pixel Flicks, Tron 1982,
Joysticks.
Joysticks 1983. Joysticks. Have you ever watched the whole thing, Eric? Have you seen the whole movie?
Oh fucking hell.
It is so bad.
Pretty bad.
Like early 80s sex comedies in the vein of like Porky's and Meatballs and all, like they're a dime a dozen, right? But like this one is like especially odious. It is so bad. It is.
How bad is it?
It legitimately borders on unwatchable. It's so paralyzingly unfunny.
Bad?
it is the source material for all these bad ads that we're looking at.
Yeah, right. No shit. Cloak and Dagger. Henry Thomas and Dabney Coleman play Atari. The Last Starfighter.
Okay.
I feel like The Last Starfighter is still like, once you know what the movie's about, it's still like a weird fantasy for kids. Even like there's kids now, I bet, who play like Fortnite and wish that they would. It was an alien test to be able to. Yeah. If anybody hasn't seen it, the premise of The Last Starfighter is that there's a video game called The Last Starfighter, and this dude is really good at it, and it turns out it's a way for an alien race to find new fighter pilots to fight an evil galactic empire. So by being dope at video games,
it's a non-homophobic Ender's Game.
Yeah.
but he doesn't know how that. But he doesn't know, right? In Ender's Game, Ender knows what the purpose of the game is, right? If I remember correctly, like. He knows he's going to be a child soldier. The Last Starfighter just thinks he's playing a video game until, the Wizard.
If I recall correctly, they don't know until the end. They have to go through the simulation first.
Right.
That turns out to not be a simulation.
Right. Yeah. Right. The Wizard. That's a movie I own on Blu-ray. Ask me more. Super Mario Brothers is not a good movie. If David is watching, he's going to be mad at me for saying that, but I'm sorry, that movie is fucking awful.
Very bad.
Not only was the last time I beat Bad Dudes with Eric, the last time I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie was with all of you guys at PAX in like 2014.
I don't remember.
It was a while ago. Yeah, no
It
idea.
was a
I
while
remember
ago.
that, and that movie is still as inexplicable to this day as it ever was.
Yeah, it's wild. Street Fighter, the movie. Raul Julia in his
So
last
hard.
movie. So hard.
All right. Start flying
was
through some of this
Tuesday.
shit.
Duke Nukem on Game Boy Color. Exactly. Exactly what everyone was clamoring for in 1999 was a port of Duke Nukem 1 for computers on Game Boy.
Gleam.
I actually have no idea if Duke Nukem on Game Boy Color is a port of one of the early Duke Nukem games or just a wholly original concoction for the Game Boy
It
Color.
looks like yeah, I don't know.
If only there was a series on YouTube about games with
Oh,
similar
if
names.
only. If only. Yeah, Bleem. Bleem was a big deal then, man. Bleem was a huge deal.
Oh yeah. Was it?
Among the people I hung out with at that time, it was. I guess I don't know if it actually was for
It was not a
everybody.
huge deal.
But, like,
Sorry.
well, I was going to say, but legally it definitely was, because it was the thing, like, Sony tried to sue them, and they were able to prove that as long as you're not, like, make legal precedent that as long as you're not taking source code, emulation is legal. And that is actually still the precedent that is used today.
According to the Duke Nukem Wikipedia page, or like the Duke Nukem Wiki, sorry. The Game Boy Color, it's a port of Duke Nukem 2.
All right, so it is just a port of
or the the
like,
shareware
original-
side scroller.
Yeah, the PC, yeah.
www.doesthegamestop.com still just redirect to GameStop's website, powered by Babbage's and software, etc.
Put your bedpan in your gamer chair so you never have to get up.
That's right.
Oh,
This
that
is
just
the
seems like
original.
right at me.
This is the original poop socking right here. Is just getting a bedpan, but then people were like, sitting on that bedpan is uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna shit in a sock instead.
Joe, sometimes I wish you wouldn't talk.
Yeah, well, the feeling is mutual, man.
Come to the wrong place.
Yeah.
Alex.
Also, like,
Alex, you are a poop sucker. So get out of here.
I was gonna say, I think you
Hey, I
qualify
have a bathroom.
as.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Of all of
I
us,
have a bathroom.
you were voted most likely to poop.
You are the most.
Well,
yeah,
your
you're.
voting is
You,
wrong.
yeah,
You need
no.
to examine your voting process because I have a bathroom and I use it.
But what if you're in the middle
I'm
of a
proud to say
game and
that
it's
I
really
do
important?
Poop in the bathroom. Nothing is more important than pooping.
Look, there's a naked baby butt.
Speaking of pooping,
Yeah.
there's a
You-
baby
you get
butt.
out of here.
Diapers, maybe. This is some of that good ass '90s advertising we were talking about. Diapers
All right,
may be
okay.
required for Road Rash 64.
You guys have to pick now. Are you taking the bedpan, the diapers, or the poop sock?
In that situation, probably I don't know.
The
maybe not.
bedpan, I think.
The bedpan, I guess.
Yeah.
Coming late September.
Coming late September. Rules just slow you down. NFL Blitz 2000. No refs, no rules, no mercy. Hot take. This is
That's a good fucking video.
one of the best football games ever made, if not the best football game ever made. This game kicks fucking ass. And this is actually maybe still the best way to play it would be one of these ports, because they did an arcade 1-up of it like 2 years ago, but because of all the concussion stuff around the NFL made them take the late hits out of the game for the arcade 1-up versions. And I totally get why they did that, and I totally get it's better to have the game in an arcade 1-up than to not, I guess, especially since they actually used the weird optical 38 direction joystick that game
Counterpoint.
used. But
Counterpoint: without late hits, it's not NFL Blitz.
I was gonna say, if I can't leg drop someone after hitting them into the end zone for a safety, and then like Hulk Hogan leg drop or Eddie Guerrero frog splash him, I don't want to play it because that's like 50% of the enjoyment. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, new secret heads. This one features new
Look at how
secret
realistic.
heads.
I love that realistic Mike Allstott.
You
Exactly
had.
what he looked like.
Did you have to look up that was Mike Allstott, or did you clock
No,
that
I
that's
know
who that was?
No,
Right, okay.
I was watching football a lot back then.
Okay. This is a game that I have heard is actually quite good that I have never played, but it got a Night Dive remaster.
I beg to differ.
Okay. All right.
I had that on the N64, and I thought it was extremely middling.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there's a whole community of people who want to rehab this game, and I guess that there's a Night Dive remaster out now. Maybe it smooths off some of the rough edges.
Can you throw a rock on like a game that's like a 6 out of 10 without finding like 20 people on the internet who are constantly trying to get it remade?
Talking
Every
about
game,
how
no
it's
matter
the
how
best
bad
game.
It is someone's favorite game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. That's fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's fine and cool, but no thank you. I disagree.
Do you guys remember Crave Entertainment?
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of.
They had the most 90s logo of any, or one of them. I don't know what that font is called. I'm not a font expert.
Crave. Oh, that's
Is it just called the Crave font? No, I know. It should be. But, what the hell?
Just closed a Bile Titan hole by killing a Bile Titan and having him crash into it.
Nice.
That's cool.
That felt pretty good.
What do you think Crave's next big product will be? Your Mario or Duke Nukem? Let's talk about the fact that in 1999, those two thoughts would be connected. When you're talking about huge marquee hits, you would Mario or Duke Nukem. Yes. Yeah.
He was even on the Game Boy Color.
That's right. He's got balls of steel. He thinks that Jade Cocoon is good. Do you guys remember Jade Cocoon being as big as Mario Sunshine?
Oh, I thought you were asking if I remember Jake Cocoon.
Well, yeah.
I also thought that's.
But also, I remember like the box art vaguely, but I could not tell you what the game actually is. I don't think.
It's an RPG.
Is it an RPG? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like a rock, paper, scissors, like monster collecting kind of thing.
Chrono Cross. The long-awaited sequel to 16-bit RPG
part of the
Chrono
marketing
Trigger.
for that was that it was like,
not hell yeah. No, it's Chrono Cross. What are you talking about?
Chrono Cross is a game that I appreciate because they said like we could make a good game, but instead they decided to try something
make
weird.
a weird game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't really like it is what it is, but you know, I appreciate that they just tried to do something different.
That's weird. It is a weird game.
It didn't work, but you know, it almost
yeah.
did.
Sometimes of like an interesting failure is better than like a mediocre follow-up to a classic. So
Mother.
Okay, but then other times you get Chrono Cross.
Chrono Cross
it's not that bad. It's fine. There's a lot of stupid shit in it that's really funny.
Yes.
So.
And that's another one that a lot of people are. That is a classic for a certain sect of.
At the very last minute, almost literally, we got these new screenshots of Castlevania for Dreamcast that we had to share. I have played this on stream when a build finally came out. It's not good. None of the 3D Castlevania games are good. There are no good 3D Castlevania games. The closest,
that's not true.
It is true. Lament of Innocence is like okay.
Good. Yeah,
it's
Lament of
okay.
Innocence is fine. Was it the other PS2 one is pretty alright.
Harmony of Dissonance was the HD one, right?
No, yeah.
Oh no, Curse.
I don't remember.
Something about Curse. Wasn't it a Curse?
Curse of something. I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah.
All I know is you got to hold Y to call Zobek.
Do you guys want to know what the top 10 arcade picks were in
No.
Yes. Yeah.
summer of 1999? NBA Showtime, Tekken Tag Tournament,
Sure.
Bariki 1, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Crazy Taxi.
I want to play some Crazy Taxi.
You want to make some crazy money. Hydro
Crazy
Thunder.
Taxi.
Ferrari 355 Challenge, Soul Calibur, Dance Dance Revolution without a number or a subtitle or anything behind it. And NFL Blitz 99. Also, make sure you choose your difficulty level of live opponents to play on Heat.net, fast free online gaming. Play for keeps.
Typing Heat.net into my internet browser.
World Girl?
World Girl.
Girl.
Sometimes a girl's got a whirl on Showtime's website, show.com. New episodes every Friday. Back up.
Boys.
Show.com still.
Oddly enough, show.
I would say show.com.
GameStop.com.
Which in turn redirects to. No, I think show.com still goes to Showtime's website, but I would wonder if this is preserved in any, like, can I watch Whirl Girl now? Can I, when I go to bed tonight, can I watch Whirl Girl on my phone and see what the fuck's going on with fucking Whirl Girl?
Looks like most of it's on YouTube. So,
okay.
Yes.
It's great. I don't have to have a Showtime subscription, is what you're telling me? Koei lands their first PlayStation 2 game.
Oh, man.
It's Kessen. Oh, man, I remember Kessen. Just like almost every other Koei game, I looked at it and went, no, I don't want to read that much while I play a video game, and then never played it.
I highly recommend everybody go check out Whirl Girl.
Yeah.
This is some definite late 90s Flash animation shit. Anyway.
The import pick of the month was Rockman. What is this, 1986 again? Rockmen, please. Rockman 1 through 6, known as Mega Man in the US, are being released in Japan to celebrate the 15-year anniversary of the character in 2000.
Oh, God.
I still think it's kind of weird that those didn't come to the PlayStation in the US, but I guess Sony didn't like 2D games, allegedly. Even though I've yet to find any actual confirmation of that in all my searching. But upcoming releases, we got Street Fighter 03 coming out for the Saturn on 8/5/99. I'm going to just say I don't think that one's getting a US release. We got more rumors. We got any good rumors this time? Soul Reaver coming to Dreamcast.
So heat.net takes you to a WordPress page that was last, as far as I can tell, updated in 2011. That is just articles about ways to heat and cool your house. There's an article about heat pumps that was posted in January 2011.
Nice.
So
that was the thing.
The homepage is literally just telling you that this must have been like a high school kid's like a project for a college class or something.
Yeah.
Because the first page is literally just like defining HVAC and then describing what heating and cooling systems are.
So Heat was one of the sites where if you didn't have like a easy way to play games directly with people, you could go through Heat.
Nope, it's the Miami Heating and Cooling website, Joe.
And this is relevant now because in Elon Musk's very long list of bullshit gaming achievements, he claims to have won like a big money tournament. And it turns out like it wasn't Heat.net, but it was like one of those like middlemen where every match was super laggy that he like won on. And so it's like, yeah, it's like he was like pro 360 no scope, and it's like,
oh, who cares?
Yeah.
1, who cares? 2, he's lying. 3, who cares? And he's lying. It's fine.
Wasn't that 3 and 4? I don't know. Anyways,
you get the point, dude. Who fucking gives a shit? He's lying. He didn't do that. It's fine.
The Japan top 10, Persona 2 is perched at the top of the Japan top 10, which that game did get a US.
Yeah, it came out here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that did, but it's like one of the most expensive PS1 games, right? Because they didn't make very many of them, if memory serves.
Probably.
I think didn't only one.
King of Fighters Dream Match 1999, which is in fact King of Fighters 98, and that is the most confusing thing because there is a different game called King of Fighters 99. That is, anyways. Fire Pro Wrestling G.
What the fuck, Mike?
What the fuck, Mike?
Some dude just in that I'm running through a mega nest, and I'm like, we cleared out the entrance, and all the holes are in the back. And some dude, we're like, cool, the entrance is open. 3 of us start running in, and then just mines start popping out of the ground, and all 3 of us just turn around and run away. Like, what the fuck? Like, whose side are you on, Mike?
Can't beat him.
The top.
I thought it was because Mike posted some of the art from World Girl and the.
Yeah, right. Top 20 best-selling games of May 99. Number 1, Smash Bros. That feels right. I think it's kind of bullshit that Pokemon...
Same shit that sells to this day.
Right. I think it's kind of bullshit that Pokemon Blue and Red get separate entries, though. Like...
That is kind of bullshit, yeah.
2 different games, man.
Are they? Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So this was before the movie was out, right? Because the movie came out in June of 99?
No fucking clue, man.
So that and people were just playing it to get a glimpse of what the new Star Wars thing was going to be. This is May. Best-selling games of May 99.
And Episode 1 Racer is maybe the single best thing to come out of Star Wars Episode 1.
That could be true, yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Or even possibly that entire trilogy.
Yeah. Probably so. R4, Ridge Racer Type 4. That game rules. That's a good one. Super Mario Brothers Deluxe on the Game Boy Color is number 6. Mario Party 1. Ugh. Number 7, Siphon Filter, Need for Speed High Stakes, Street Fighter Alpha 3, the PlayStation port. Triple Play 2000, MLB 2000. Remember when there was more than one MLB like video game?
It's like the same stuff that sells to this day is the same stuff.
Yep.
At the top of this
Yeah.
list. The only thing that's missing is a Call of Duty.
Zelda, GoldenEye 007 is a first-person shooter. Gran Turismo, yeah. The Desert Island.
There's not a lot of racing games on the top list these days. That's like one of the things that
There are not many of them.
yeah.
The Desert Island gaming console for people, based on a videogames.com poll from 6/11/99. 43% would take their PlayStation, 25% would take the Dreamcast, 16% would take the Nintendo 64, 10% would take the Super Nintendo, 3% would take the NES.
The Dreamcast that wasn't even out yet.
Yeah, that's how much they want. Well, it was out in Japan, so you could have hypothetically imported a Japanese Dreamcast because there was like a full year between the Japanese release and the American release. But why would you wouldn't Desert Island your Dreamcast at that time because there was only like 10 games on it. Unless you really love Soul Calibur, I guess.
You really love Soul Calibur.
But I love that the Genesis, the Master System, and the Saturn are all at 1%. And this is like the Saturn was like, they were still making new Saturn games at this time.
Yeah, but the Saturn is fucking bad. Sorry for all the Saturn.
How dare you? How dare you?
It's bad. Listen.
I have no memory of this game. It's an Atlas RPG, so people are probably love it somewhere. Is it a 6 out of 10 that someone somewhere loves it?
It might
probably.
Be, yeah.
Jade Cocoon. Hey, there we go. There's the Crave font. There it is. Strategically use your monster's dominance of the 4 elements. Yeah, I remember this cover of the like Cocoon and the Moth or whatever with all the little monsters and the bubbles. I never played this game. I have no idea what the fuck it is. A grudge match, 65 million years in the making. I forgot this game existed until just now.
Fighting dinosaurs fighting.
Yes,
dinosaurs fighting at a 76 rest stop.
Yeah, I was gonna say every IP got a fucking 3D fighting game in the late 90s. Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Dungeons and Dragons. Fucking Pepsi Man is in Fighting Vipers. There's
make them. They were easy to churn out back then.
From Daytona, man.
Yeah, that's right. TNN Motorsports, Hardcore Heat. See, this is how deep the racing game went in 1999. The TNN Motorsports had its own,
sports games and racing games.
The Legend returns in 3D, R-Type Delta. I wouldn't call this a 3D game. I mean, the graphics are technically 3D, but R-Type Delta is not
made of 3D graphics.
It's made of 3D graphics.
Enemies move in 3D. They like spin around in the foreground and background and stuff, I want to say. They're like rings of enemies that sometimes move in and out of the plane you're in, I want to say. That's
yeah. Game. I mean, I was going to say, that it kicks ass, but I don't try to sell it as a 3D R-Type because that's not really what... It's not...
I mean, technically,
right?
Look at old 2D, baby.
Maddie says she liked Jade Cocoon, but it was probably the craving for more monster collecting games like Pokemon.
Yeah, it's okay. It was okay. Like Thousand Arms, it was another fair to Midland PlayStation era RPG.
Oh boy, this is about as 90s as it fucking gets right here. For starters, though, I will say Jammer Lammy is awesome and is, I think, actually better than Parappa the Rappa.
That's completely ridiculous.
But
it might be more playable than Parappa the Rapper, but the songs are not as good.
Correct.
Yeah.
Tribal tattoo around a pierced navel with low-rise jeans.
Samples can.
That's true. It's not Jammer Lammy. That's true.
Oh, Albert Brand.
I was just looking at the list of NBA names to be like, did any of these guys really break out? And
I mean, those are all, I don't know if none of them are like great players, but
yeah. Vigilante 8, Second Offense. Street Fighter Alpha 3. The Bad, no fighting over the internet. Yet. How is this game 1 through 3?
Wouldn't be a thing for a long time.
No, there were I would say there were Dreamcast games that had online multiplayer.
I'm talking about how like rollback was not the standard.
Yeah, obviously. Yes, obviously.
That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm saying.
It was bad, but you could do it.
I know that. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Goodness gracious.
I mean, I mean, technically you could do it on the Xbox and the Xbox 360 and a bunch of other things, but
No,
even
but
then
it was
pretty
bad.
hard.
That's what.
Yeah.
Goodness.
The best Street Fighter conversion yet. The bad, no fighting over the internet yet. The ugly, Dreamcast controller is less than ideal for the festivities. That's putting it mildly. Playing fighting games on a standard Dreamcast controller.
D-pad.
Dude,
Some people like it.
No, they don't. Shut the fuck up.
D-pad?
Yeah, they do. I've met people who like the Dreamcast D-pad.
Actually, what I hate on the Dreamcast is the
They all
analog
say
stick.
something about the latency, and I'm like, I don't know what that means in regards to a D-pad. And they're like, no, but like, and I'm like, all right, like, I just like, whatever, man. You like it, that's fine.
What were you saying, Mike?
Well, for me, it was the analog stick. It was like the way it was textured. It made it one of the only analog sticks to ever like really chafe my hands.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
The Dreamcast controller is very bad.
I played a lot of Tony Hawk 2, and after long sessions,
me
I
too,
would feel like I'd kind of rub my hands raw.
You use the analog sticks to play Tony Hawk? You fucking
the orientation
monster.
It's just that orientation of the hand.
I still do.
On the Dreamcast are bad.
Gross.
You gotta steer, Joe. You gotta steer left and right. Why would I not want analog control?
It's
for
like
that?
just like tap dodging in a shooter, man. Welcome to the Quake 2 meat market.
I just sent an ICBM in on a planet for the first time since I got my new graphics card.
Nice.
It's good.
Play those Nintendo 64, PlayStation ports of Quake 2.
100% spineless ground meat, 78 cents. Hand cranked and chock full of juicy new tidbits, all stuffed into an authentic id Software casing. No baloney.
Something hand cranked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bit. Yes.
Little boys
yes.
reading a video game magazine. You get what I'm saying? 2000.
I do,
it's
Alex.
1999.
Don't you worry. I totally got what you were saying.
Low-cut jeans. It's video games. It's a
That's
tribal
right.
tattoo.
That's right. Exactly.
It'll
Yeah.
never catch on.
That shit will never catch on. Yeah.
I fucking hate everything.
Giant Graham All Japan Pro Wrestling 2 in Nippon Budokan is awesome as far as Dreamcast games go, but Giant Graham 2000 is the best one. Hot Wheels Turbo Racing.
2000, yeah, that's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
She's very big.
John Randall.
John Randall's Sunday brunch list, starting with
Tim
Steve
Couch.
Young.
How does Tim Couch rate that list? I guess that must have been the year he was the number one pick. And
Probably
hadn't actually played yet.
NFL Extreme 2 with no E, just Extreme. A bone-jarring, smack-talking, mouth-watering arcade-style football frenzy.
We didn't have time for the
It's
Mouth watering.
It's the bad.
It'll make you hungry, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Pokemon
That
Snap.
was the year Tim Couch was drafted. So
There you go. Pokemon Snap was announced for the 64DD, and it looked a little different from the final game. I wonder why.
look, there's a tasteful video game ad
Yes.
for a game that's for adults
That-
and is total nonsense.
Pokemon Snap.
Oh, but what about this ad for Final Fantasy
Yes.
And immediately everything I said is flushed down the toilet.
Really, Yaris?
You could win a 2000
Toyota
Toyota Echo.
Oh, Echo.
Go buy.
Yeah, that was,
I mean, those are good cars.
Final Fantasy VIII will be available at Toys R Us, Electronics Boutique,
Is it-
Babbage's, KB Toys, Funko Land, Hollywood Video, Media Play,
I've
Warehouse
never-
Music, and other retailers that don't exist
None
anymore.
of those, I was gonna say none of those exist anymore.
I've never heard of a Toyota Echo. Was that a good?
I don't
Those are my
remember.
I remember the name, but I couldn't tell
My
you anything
in-laws had
else.
one, and it lasted for years and years and
Are
years.
they?
Like,
I
they wound up
mean,
selling
like,
it to somebody
those
else.
old-
and they kept it for
Yeah,
a while.
those old '90s Hondas and Toyotas were around forever, but that's just I never heard of that one.
WCW fans, are you ready to rumble? In WCW Mayhem
It is
on the
it is
Nintendo
a
64?
subcompact, so that was a very small car.
Oh yeah, real small, teeny tiny.
Sorry, Blood and Guts fans, but you won't find any of the red stuff in WCW Mayhem. Well, both WCW versus NWO and WCW NWO Revenge contained copious quantities of blood. WCW called it an oversight.
Yeah, and that's not what's.
That's
not
I'll
what's
say the
happening.
problem with WCW Mayhem is not the lack of blood.
All right, because start clicking.
Yeah, Hydro
yes,
Thunder.
I just want to say this guy in Helldivers is glitched, and so he's literally just a torso floating around.
Nice.
And we just like high five. I just
I
like
feel
high five the
that
torso.
happened. That happened like 3 times when we played the other
It's
night.
happening like more, but I'm okay with it. It's like somebody gets their head blown off and then they spawn back in and then they just don't have a head.
Guys, make sure to catch the Monster Rancher cartoon on the BKN Kids Network.
Yep.
And whatever you do, don't sit too close to your CD rack. Mike, how do you feel about StarCraft on N64?
That's must be one of the ways you can play it.
Chess
Imagine they would lie about that, right?
Yeah, right. Turok, Rage Wars. Remember online? Remember multiplayer only shooters for fucking consoles? Oh,
I mean, it's just,
God.
It's just like GoldenEye multiplayer, but Turok.
Right, but only that, and no campaign. Resident Evil 2 on the N64. That doesn't seem possible. That sure does look like Resident Evil 2.
That's a good word, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I love Resident Evil 2 N64. Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko. That also recently got a re-release, or was about to get a re-release, or recently got a re-release. I don't remember.
Why? Don't do that.
Yeah, I know, but
why?
Why?
Why did
People yearn for Gex, man? You know, I don't know.
No, they fucking don't, man. No one yearns for Gex.
Isn't Winback the game that everybody is like, that was stealth like the Gears of War,
That was
like
one of the first.
yeah,
Yeah,
chest high wall,
Yeah, that was
stop
the,
and pop.
that was the Metal Gear like killer for N64.
Mm-hmm. I think they're the same thing. I think that was both of those things. I think it was the Metal Gear killer,
War, didn't you?
Right? But I think it was the Metal Gear killer that was like a stop and pop, like waist high walls everywhere thing.
Kind of. It was more stealthier than that, but in Gears of War was like but a twinkle in what's his name's eye at that point.
Cliffy B.
So, Cliffy B.
Yeah, I mean the real one that was the direct inspiration was that PlayStation 2 game that I can't remember the name of.
Kill Switch. Kill Switch.
Kill Switch, yeah.
Yeah.
Doshin the Giant. Oh, we got Sky. Uh-oh. Look who's on this page.
Yep.
I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning at sacrifice. The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at sacrifice.
Oh man, I remember this Fighter Maker. Nobody liked that. Final Fantasy VIII is coming soon. Rising Zan, the Samurai Gunman. I think Anthony gave me a copy of that game for Christmas one year when I lived in DC.
Wild, yeah.
But the Wild West was never this wild. Soul of the Samurai. This is a Konami game. I cut through the crap, man. I have no memory of this, like, at all. Suikoden, there's a Suikoden 2 preview. Talking about how good the sprite art is, I guess.
And it was.
The graphics are still kind of crummy. Fuck off. God, I hated that. 2D games look ugly. Oh, these ugly polygons look fucking awesome. Thrasher, Skate and Destroy. That one didn't end up.
To be fair, the ugly polygons do kind of look fucking awesome.
I mean, they do kind of look fucking awesome. Thrasher, Skate and Destroy, if I remember correctly, was not good and had its lunch completely eaten by Tony Hawk. So
I mean, it was with Tony Hawk. Like that was after Tony Hawk. That was like.
Was it though? Because Tony Hawk was also 99. So it wasn't long after. If it was after, I think they're pretty contemporaneous. Star Ocean, the second story. Mm-hmm. Oh God! Speaking of poop socking, this ad is a mail hold form that you can.
There is a lot of stuff in that game.
Yeah. Here, this is a Fear Factor ad that isn't just like the two women seductively posed next to each other or whatever.
That's because that's Fear Effect 1.
Okay.
The second one was the one with all the titillating lady kissing.
I thought that
Emphasis on tit.
but I thought that the advertising for the first one, I remembered it was also even though that
emphasized the sexy lady, but it was the second one that had the
shower
the two
bit
girls
in the
second.
if you go to buy.com right now, you can get Quake 2 for way less than at cdw.com. I'm going to guess neither of those websites exist anymore. Somebody's checking. Oh, Silhouette Mirage. The localized art that Working Designs used for some of this shit, I swear to God. Like, I just don't. Also, their spaz imprint, which apparently, like, they didn't... That's a pejorative term in... it's considered a slur in England or in Europe. And so they, like, stopped using this branding. But there's, like, a handful of games that have this GamePro 5 out of 5 reject plastered on the cover. This, though, I think is one of the famous Working Designs localizations that basically wrecked the game by making it way the fuck too hard.
Well, they don't want you to take it back after finishing it on a rental, right?
Right, exactly. Silver Star Story Complete. I think Eric and I saw a copy of this at a game store in Phoenix when we were there for Extra Life, and it was like $300 now, so... There you go, Working Designs.
I have a copy of it around here someplace. I still have the Magic Emperor Galleon punching puppet as well.
Oh yeah, that goes for. Yeah. I've seen that a couple places. That goes for a fucking ton.
I should let my friend Mike know. He still has his.
Yeah, if you're not attached to it, you can probably sell it for quite a bit of money if you're interested in doing so. But yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was not. This is a 50% preview.
They're re-releasing that too soon with like a new like better translation without the Working Designs.
Oh, Lunar. Yeah, I think
nonsense translation. It's not nonsense. It's just kind of like rife with like out of like nonsensical pop culture references and stuff.
Right. Did Chocobo Racing actually come out in the US?
Pretty sure.
I think so.
I like that the Chocobo's wearing like rocket skates. Isn't the thing about Chocobos that they can run fast?
1999 racing game.
There you go.
So you think you're gonna ride your Chocobo?
CDW is like some kind of like tech support website, like for like packaged IT services, and then buy.com reroutes to something called Rakuten.com.
Oh yeah, I know that. That's a website I've heard of. Yeah.
Looks like a deal website or something.
Yeah, it's one of those
like Honey or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Or
bullshit.
Yeah, one of those things where you pay money to make a bid on a thing that goes to the website. Maybe one of those things. I don't. Anyways.
No, this is like a install a thing like on your web.
Oh,
I'm assuming they give you.
Oh yeah, they're right.
Like a referral kickback or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
You can guarantee your Dreamcast right now if you put $10 down at Electronics Boutique.
Okay. Let me head over there.
Yeah, do it.
I've heard worse ideas.
Yeah. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And make sure you get the guide for Star Wars Episode 1 Racer for $14.95, because racing games, what genre doesn't need a strategy guide more than racing games?
All the drifting and shortcut strats you could ever need.
Command and
guides for
I forgot that.
Popular
everything had a guide. Yeah, I forgot that Command and Conquer got an N64 port. That's probably not good.
No, that's the. Then I got a sequel called Command and Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
I'll allow it.
When I worked at a video game store in college, which was a few years after this, we had a whole bunch of Sega Dreamcast fishing controllers that, like, our boss got as like dead stock, and they just took up space and tried really hard to move those. But like, I guess if you're gonna play Sega Bass Fishing.
Yeah, you're gonna play Sega Bass Fishing, then
you need to.
Yeah, you would need it.
Yeah. Space Invaders, PlayStation, Nintendo 64. That's what everybody was getting the hot new 3D game, 3D machines for.
This is just a product guide of stuff that is out recently at EB.
Do you think that this Pokemon trading card game strategy guide still works for the current Pokemon trading card game?
Cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs, and a bunch of really awful performance third-party accessories that were almost universally junk. Did you? Did it work?
Yeah. I mean, the official one didn't work very good either.
Fair enough. Dune 2000 featuring John Rhys Davies is Thufir Hawat. I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Ooh, the Tekken anime and Those Who Hunt Elves, Chapter 2 from ADV Films.
Wow. Man, you want to talk about shit that was fucked up back in the day? Remember buying anime at like Sun Goes Video for like a VHS? For like $80 for like 3 episodes? Fuck, man.
So, looking at this ad, the Tekken anime movie, the DVD is $30 and the VHS dubbed is $20. Those Who Hunt Elves Chapter 2 is $25 for the dub and $29.95 for the sub. And I feel like a lot of those were literally like 1 or 2 episodes of like a 30-minute TV show. Bananas. Wu-Tang Shaolin Style.
You had to be fucking dedicated to watch anime back in 1999.
Yes, you did.
You did.
It wasn't just on Netflix.
That's right.
By the way, don't watch the Devil May Cry anime. It sucks. Thanks.
The first anime I saw,
my TED Talk.
some dude gave me a VHS copy of Noshika and handed me the script. I was like, here you go.
What do you mean?
I was like, okay. How am I supposed to do this?
Did you just pick it up and look at it and hand it right back to them?
The things we had to go through, man.
I mean, that's like a fucking baller movie, though. But like, you know.
Yeah.
The first time I saw the Street Fighter anime, a friend of mine got his hands on a bootleg VHS copy that was in Japanese and didn't even have fan subs, and I didn't get a script with it, so we just watched the Street Fighter 2 anime. Like, repeatedly, not knowing the language at all, which I guess, like, the dialogue in that movie is not really the reason why you're watching it, so that's fair, I guess.
I had a really hard time following the story.
Yeah, following the... Well, fortunately, I'm familiar with the source material, so I know that Bison is the bad guy, and Ryu is the good guy, so... You don't know Jack. I don't know what that is, but that doesn't sound like it'll ever take off. Metal Gear Solid Integral.
Maybe if they put it in a box.
Yes.
Right, I'm gonna get my laundry out of the dryer. I'll be back later.
Bye.
If you guys go to bed. Okay, bye.
So if I remember correctly, the second disc of Metal Gear Solid Integral is the VR missions that we got just as a separate game. And I think that was kind of it. We were already up to Tomb Raider Last Revelation by 1999. Good Lord, they cranked those things out.
They're putting one out just about every year.
Yeah, WCW Mayhem. We already talked about that.
The first one was like 96, right? So 95.
I think it was 96. 95 was like the Saturn and PlayStation launched in 95. I think it was at least 96.
Yeah, but I mean, the first one was started as a PC franchise, right?
I think it was originally being developed directly for the Saturn, actually, and then it was they changed lanes because the PlayStation was kicking the shit out of the Saturn. I don't know what Knights of Carnage is. It looks like a really bad fighting game, but I have like legitimately no fucking clue. Or is that a first-person dungeon? What is happening in that video game? I don't even want to know. This is all like the super tiny previews that are just like a paragraph. Bass Landing with a fishing controller. Vagrant Story. Vagrant Story got a bunch of screenshots in one paragraph. Tornico's Great Adventure. Those games didn't come out in the US, I don't think. Pretty sure we didn't get the Tornico. game. Maybe we got the first one. I don't remember. Medal of Honor 1. Trick Style. The sicker the trick, the sweeter the win. IGN.com's best PC racing game from E3 1999. Let's put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Click through.
Yeah.
Pick up the
Oh
pace.
shit! It's like
Tomorrow Never
really late.
Dies.
It's really late.
It's pretty late.
All right,
No, I'm
I'm
just-
gonna get out of here. Happy magazining.
I think we're going to be out of here soon too, but thanks, Mike. Have a good night.
Good night, Mike.
That's a good Dino Crisis ad. This is a pretty good our Sarge's Heroes slash Air Attack. Yeah, I never got into those games, but
There sure were a lot of them.
sure. The Dreamcast is here,
buy
but
one?
should you buy one?
I mean, if you like fighting games or football games, then
Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or weird stuff from Japan.
I mean, honestly, I'll put our football and basketball games against anybody's, says Bernie Stoller. I mean, he's correct.
That's true back then.
The 2K sports games were the shit. Mortal Kombat Gold was like kind of just shit. Oh, here we go. Dreamcast launch games. Arrow Wings, Air Force Delta, Armada, Blue Stinger, Kart Racing, House of the Dead 2, Hydro Thunder, King of Fighters 99, Marvel vs. Capcom, Monaco Grand Prix, Mortal Kombat Gold, NFL Blitz, NFL 2K, Power Stone, Rainbow Six, Ready to Rumble, Slave Zero, Sonic Adventure, Soul Calibur, Speed Devils, TNN Motorsports, Tokyo Extreme Racer, and Trick
Imagine the
Style.
poor kid that asked for Soul Calibur and got Soul Fighter instead.
I don't know if that game ever came out.
No, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is,
It's
but
right there.
that is a stacked ass launch lineup. Like, that is crazy.
It's a 3D beat 'em up published by Toka and developed by TLC Media. It came out in November '99.
Oh, this is the good stuff right here, Eric. I mean, this game isn't good, but this ad is fucking. We got the bloody Austin 316 shirt. We got long hair, long pants, Triple H. We got corporate Mick Foley. Oh, the serial port. Oh my god, do you guys remember when iOmega was going to make a zip drive for the Dreamcast? Good
Yeah.
lord.
But those zip discs look pretty cool. Like a fat,
They
look like a
did.
fast car. So,
They did look cool, but I mean,
Tell me more about the variable speed fan.
that's right. Stanley, age 31 from Chicago, is going to buy a Dreamcast when it launches because it's new, it's different, it gives you more variety.
Yeah.
This is. Five launch games you must buy. Soul Calibur, obviously. Sonic Adventure. I don't agree with that. I don't think you had to buy Sonic Adventure. I don't think that was necessary. Ready to Rumble. NFL 2K. House of the Dead 2. Like, okay, House of the Dead 2. Yes. NFL 2K if you're a football game person. But, like, over Power Stone? Over Marvel versus Capcom? Like, are you... Well, that was the 2D thing, right? And it was...
No, I think Marvel vs. Capcom reviewed very well.
Yeah, it did. It did. But they didn't put it in their top
That
5.
list of games is definitely like the show off the 3D
Right,
capabilities
yeah.
of the system.
Soul Fighter. Think of Fighting Force on the PlayStation, except much nicer looking and hopefully more fun. I'm looking at this screenshot.
That asked for Soul Calibur for Christmas and got Soul Fighter.
Soul Fighter. Dreamcast online. Look, it's hooked up to this payphone. The Dreamcasting couch. Jesus Christ. arcade hit Asteroids finally hits the Nintendo 64. Win back covert operations. How do we sell a fishing game in 1999? Oh, I know. Make it about dicks.
No, it's not. It's about catching a big fish.
Right. Wow, Tail Concerto. That's a game that I feel like I've heard people, mostly furries, talk about.
All right.
Anyone looking for a 3D platformer need look no further than Tail Concerto. So this review pull quote says it is a 3D platformer. That's essentially...
That was the nicest thing they could find to say about it.
Yeah, right. So many rats, so many ways to exterminate them. So
yeah,
what are you waiting for?
No, Rat Attack. I never heard of that game.
No idea, yeah. Do you need jingoism every time you play your PlayStation? If so, yes. I have a controller for you.
Yes, I do.
Oh, hey, do you want a controller that tilting it simulates moving the left analog stick? Who would want that? Who in 1999 was like, what if this joystick that is like precise and good to use and like finally a consumer level thing I can have? There's a lot of
people that play shooters with the tilt controls on the Switch, so somebody out there wanted that.
Are there? I feel like there are people who play.
Yeah, there's tons of people that play Switch games like that.
That's wild. Here's an explanation of the rating system.
I know. I definitely remember this. In
These, the chips and bits and all that stuff, where you could buy imports and new games and the review crew. Wow, we haven't even gotten to the reviews yet. Jesus. Okay.
What was it? 250 pages.
200. We're on 216 out of 244. Yeah. So. Spawn on Game Boy Color from Konami. Okay, sure.
Visual Sound Ingenuity Replay.
I can't believe that Spawn on the Game Boy Color reviewed best feature, the ability to turn it off. Worst feature, being able to turn it on. Wow. How did you give it... I guess the visuals and the sound could be okay if everything else about it sucks. That's fair. Neo Geo Pocket Color, but basically
aren't positive scores.
No.
Also,
but they're higher. They're higher than being able to turn it off is the best feature. The Neo Geo Pocket Color is like a legitimately fucking awesome system, but basically all of the games that are really good at this point are just on like at least Switch for download. So you don't need to go get original hardware for that. Hey, it's
another dick joke.
It's another dick joke. It's another fishing game being sold by way of dick joke. How many like teenage boys do you think put their dicks on this ruler on the side of this magazine and measure?
I thought you were going to say on the rumbling.
58%.
I thought you were going to say on the rumbling.
On the rumbling fish controller. Yeah. I mean, also that probably, yeah.
Dex Drive Sites of the Month.
If you want the latest cheats and gaming info, call 1-900-PREVIEW. $1.49 per minute. Must be 18 years or older. Under 18 must have parents' permissions. The number to call. Jesus. Oh, the import trick of the month is for King of Fighters 98, aka King of Fighters Dream Match 99 on the Sega Dreamcast. Top 5 invincibility cheats of the month. Not only was there enough cheats in video games to have a whole section dedicated to it, there were enough invincibility cheats specifically that they got an inset just for invincibility codes.
I mean, they are reaching pretty deep with some of those picks, though.
Yeah.
Haifu.
Get some cool stuff you could probably live without, but shouldn't. Okay.
You are the wheelman.
Got it.
There's a CD player.
The iMac of Discmen. Oh, shit.
somebody at Nintendo read this article and then designed.
Yeah, I
the
was
GameCube
saying.
after the player.
Something about this Music Cube mini system from Pioneer looks downright edible. Maybe it's all the bright colors it comes in. Above it,
That's,
is
in
the
nature, you should
rainbow
always
ray.
do brightest colored things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's also a stylish mini disc add-on you can buy for $350. All right.
God, man.
Let's quickfire where to find music on the web. SonicNet.com, CDNow.com, Launch.com, BuyMusic.com, Music.com, QuickMusic.com, Listen.com, DMXMusic.com. I guess that's where if you want X to give it to you, that is where you would go. Any and all news about music artists at MusicNewsWire.com and, of course, MTV.com. How many of those websites still exist, do we think? On sale now, Pocket Games. Call now, 1-900-PREVIEW, and you could win a bunch of crappy third-party accessories that nobody liked dealing with. So I'm not saying that I disagree with the sentiment now. But I do think it's interesting that in 1999, the final word column was, is the cost of development going to be the death of innovation in video games?
The answer is yes.
The answer is
It turns out the answer was yes.
the answer was yes all along. I hate to think we're doomed because the suits are too chicken shit. I have bad news for you. Whichever of you dudes wrote
We are
that
doomed
sentence.
because the suits are too dick chicken shit.
Yes. Hey, it's Spider-Man. Ooh, the September 1999 issue of Expert Gamer, we can get some attitude and get a detailed Kane walkthrough, and they spelled Kane incorrectly.
No.
Oh, no,
That's
Legacy
for
of
the-
Kane. That's Soul
that's
Reaver.
Legacy
Got
of
it.
Kain.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are they only giving a guide for playing through as one wrestler? That's weird.
They do one wrestler a month to get you to.
Keep buying Expert Gamer every month.
I used that. I probably had that and looked at that.
Oh,
I had that. I had that game.
Yeah, same. I still have a copy of that game, actually.
I think I
GameCave.com. Enter to win a
this
Sega
is
Dreamcast.
probably the last few pages are all stuff like this.
Yes, absolutely. The best place for video games, Funko Land. Import music. Biohazard 2 complete tracks, 2 CD set for $33.
I was just gonna say there's probably like that was the era of the like $60 Final Fantasy VII soundtrack.
What's the most expensive one on here? $60. Evangelion S2 Works, 6 CD set for $60. Yep. Final Fantasy VII, $42.99. There it is.
Yep. I bought that. Had that one and the Chrono Trigger one.
Vampire Savior action figures. Pokemon posable figures. I have a Mewtwo keychain that looks quite a bit like it might have been one of the same series that is on my keys. It's no, I bought it at there was a local import shop here called Model Zone for a long time. I got it there, but you can see it in my senior picture, my high school senior picture, because I had my like cool chain wallet with my keychain like on it, so you can see my fucking Mewtwo keychain in my senior picture.
We're having trouble finding GameCave.com.
Oh, the Game Shark will give you a rub down from 2 sexy ladies. But dude, what the fuck was going on with advertising in 1999?
Use the power. That's why all the men on the internet are fucking brain poisoned because of these advertisements.
I always think of the Jeff Gersman thing from the Bombcast from like a decade ago, where he's like, we put a woman next to this thing you want to buy. You'll fall for this, dumbass. You're a fucking rube. Yeah. We put Tawny Katane on this car. Do you want to drive this car? And then that's the back cover is $99.99. Yeah, right. So,
Cast Some Dreams.
That was EGM 122 from the Dreamcast launch era.
And now I can download them and read them on my phone while I'm on the toilet, just like I did when I was 14.
Exactly. Yeah, I got this magazine for a long time, and I got it right up until the end of, right. So like they're restarting as part of this thing. But I definitely until the end of the like Ziff Dave, like this era, this awful Wolverine cover, which is just like a super close up of like the in-game texture of Hugh Jackman. It looks really bad. And oh yeah, this one isn't in the archive yet. I guess it's still the beta, but like I was definitely getting EGM like through these last couple of the Ziff Davis or whatever era, and then somebody else started it up right after that, and it was fine. Also, it makes me feel impossibly old to be scrolling through magazine covers from 2011 and being like, "Oh, Grand Theft Auto 5."
That was 15 years ago.
Yeah,
bud.
right.
Yeah. And that's still like the most played game. That's sad. The suits, man.
They're chicken shit.
They're too chicken shit.
Suits are too chicken shit. Yeah. Resident Evil
they're
0.
they're not gonna be too chicken shit to probably release Grand Theft Auto 6 for like $100.
Yeah, right. Jesus Christ. All right. Well,
I'm trying to remember. I only subscribed to EGM for like 3 or 4 years, I think.
I feel like I used to get them at the drug. Like when my grandpa would take me to get my hair cut every
Man, look at that
like,
awful Tekken 3 cover.
like once a month, and there was like a drugstore up the street from the barber shop, and like I would like get him to buy me a game magazine, and like I feel like that's how I read a lot of these, like even these specific. Like I still have this one, issue 100, with the top 100 games list in it. I still have my copy of that one. I think I still have my copy of the Tekken 3 one. I definitely still have my copy of this one with the dude from Virtua Fighter and War Gods on it.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I remember. No,
okay, which
no,
one is it?
It's the Pai's dad.
No, I don't remember. Tao Pai Pai from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That guy?
Yeah, that guy. The first one I remember having a copy of, which I haven't for a long time, but I might flip through it sometime very soon, is the one that had the Road Rash 2 hologram on it. This one. You can't really see it here, but like when you got the actual issue in your hands, this black and white thing was like a 3D hologram of the Road Rash 2 cover art. It was very good. And I remember being stoked about the Street Fighter 3. December 1992. Street Fighter 3 coming soon.
Hell yeah. I mean, it did, and in the grand scheme of things, that was pretty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On a cosmic scale, it was soon. Sure, but
True. Exactly.
anyway, I think that's we've been doing this for about an hour and 2 hours. Jeez, 2 hours. So I think I'm gonna call it a night. But thanks everybody who hung out and flipped through some old game magazines with us, and I'm gonna do maybe more of these. But I think next week we'll be back to playing video games in this time slot. But I do like flipping through these and talking to Chad about it and stuff. So, and talking to you guys about it. But anyways, we'll be back next week with something else.